Okay, so me and Tiffany are in disagreement.
Very much so. Well, there's definitely some difference of opinion for sure.
And it started with Summerhill. And for those who don't know, Summerhill is a school created by A.S. Neal, a white dude, in England, where essentially the students have a democracy. They have a say in the rules and the education. They don't have to go to class if they don't want to. And they kind of learn what they want to learn, and that's it. And I don't necessarily agree that that could be a very successful school.
Mm-hmm. So I guess our question was, does it work? And how did you elaborate that? Like, should we allow children to determine what they want to learn and how they want to learn it?
And should we stick with the new system? Because obviously we're coming in to BC with this brand new curriculum, which allows more choice, but it's more choice for the teacher, not necessarily choice for the student.
Mm-hmm.
Summerhill is very much choice for the student as well as the teacher. So I'm skeptical of A.S. Neal and what he says of the success of the school because I don't believe that his system is very effective.
And then I guess on my side, as I wonder, currently we have it geared towards the teacher having that freedom to choose how things are being taught, but as a teacher, can we allow the students to have the freedom of how they want to be taught and where they want to go with it? Maybe it's not in the curriculum and they learn something very interesting that is not there and they teach themselves and they go off on a tangent on something that stemmed from something we have been told, oh, you need to learn this, but it becomes a whole new animal per se.
That's true, but at the same time, by allowing them to do so, are they not missing out on other opportunities to learn information that may be more important for their future success than going off on this tangent, learning about, say, the Swedish royal family,
Mm-hmm.
right? That might not be something that's going to be super influential in their lives unless, say, they're going to move to Sweden.
Maybe they want to move to Sweden. I guess that's the thing is we don't know, right? Do we have the right to dictate as adults, this is what you're going to need to know because this is what you're going to do with your life, as in that kind of the our own hierarchy of, we know best and we need to direct you because we know you're going to become X, Y, and Z. Um, and maybe they know better what they're interested in, and we should stem off their interests and encourage them to go deeper into what they find interesting.
The fear that I have is that students will maybe go off on a tangent of interest and switch around a lot, and then by the time that they're finished their education, they might not have all the necessary information to move on into a career that they want to have success in. Or what if they change their mind? Now they don't have the foundational skills that they need to go down another path because they spent all of their time working on woodworking, and then all of a sudden they decided that they want to be a neurosurgeon, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
some skills will transfer over, but there are certain things that you'll need to learn in order to take that career path.
I guess my question I have for you and maybe everyone, maybe it's just just a philosophical question, but do the students really, even if they did take those courses and those classes, are they even involved enough to even get those that basic information? They take the chemistry course because they've been told they need chemistry, and maybe they were just tuned out and they wrote the test, but they didn't retain the information anyways. So, how can we guarantee just by sitting in the room and doing the work that they're actually learning the material if at that time they're not interested in it, they're not invested in it, they don't want to be a neurosurgeon? It's not until few years later that they realize, oh, I do want to do that, but they still have to upgrade. They still have to do it again because they didn't learn it in the first place.
Yeah, I would concede that you're correct in that sense. But at the same time, I don't know. I feel like the way I think is so based in my success in in the industrial system that we went through. Like I was successful
Mm-hmm.
being told what to do, being told what to learn, and then getting the chance to diversify based on my interests when I was a little bit older. Um, and I was very lucky because I found something I was very passionate about when I was in the 10th grade and I was able to pursue that. And I know a lot of students don't have that same experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously my thinking stems from a success from this system and but obviously it's naive to think that it's a one size fits all
Mm-hmm.
because not every school system is going to be effective for every student.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I don't think that, like what Roncier was talking about, I don't think that you can hand a kid a French book and then they can teach themselves French. I feel like there needs to be scaffolding and
True.
there
Yeah.
needs to be people there to aid in that educational system. I feel like self taught only takes you so far.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going off on the Summerhill system and you're really interested in this particular thing and that teacher only knows so much and can only facilitate so much, how much is your learning really growing?
I actually have to agree with you on most of that because I did very well in the system, and I did learn a lot of things from kind of being directed and told where to go. Um, However, with being told that, maybe that's what allowed me to learn is because I was told I had to do it a certain way, is I really rebelled
Mhm.
against that and wanted to be uh, more liberal and have the freedom to do what I wanted to do. And I had to fight very hard against that from parents, from family members, from peers to say, you have to do this. This is the career that you chose. You're going to go this way. And realizing through the school system that this was not me.
Mhm.
And as much as it was maybe interesting, I didn't want to do it as much as I could do it. And there was this, I think, this misunderstanding between the system that's around you that if you can do it, you should do it.
Mhm.
As opposed to, yeah, I could do pretty much anything. I was very capable. I had the grades. I had that that backbone coming from the very structured school system. Although that's another story because my school system was actually very unstructured. Um, but I actually went and decided, no, I'm not going to do it this way. I'm going to find what I want to do because really the world is my oyster and I can decide to do whatever the heck I want and I can be a dairy farmer if I want to.
Mhm.
So I learned how to milk goats because I like goats and I thought it would be cool to learn how to milk them. But do I need to, had I not said, no, I'm doing what I want, I would have been stuck and I would have been a pharmacist right now because I was told that, I was book smart, I could do it, I was in that program, I should be doing that. But would I have been happy? No, because, well, maybe, but probably not because I decided that wasn't me,
Mhm.
right? So structure can get you somewhere, but maybe having a little bit less structure can also get you somewhere, but in a different way. Maybe you'll end up at that same point anyways, with or without it. It's just a different way of getting there.
I really like the way you said that. I think that that's definitely true. I just worry that why can't we allow I feel like there is an amount of information that everyone should know, that everyone should come out of school with an equal amount of information. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, that's not possible because there's different instructors at every institution, and not all of them teach at the same quality. Not all of them teach all the same information. But I feel like there is a certainty in everyone coming out of high school, at least, with the same amount of information that they'll need to survive in the world. And then if you decide you want to do post-secondary, that's where you get to expand. That's where you get to pursue things of more interest. That's where you get to find your passion and exactly what you want to do and what intrigues you, and like go off on tangents and find the thing that you want to find, because you're also older, your brain is more developed, you can make sounder choices. I mean, from this talk, it sounds like I have very little faith in students, so they're all like stupid little idiots running around with dumb ideas in their head. But that's not what I think. But I feel that the right amount of guidance is important, and we should change our curriculum. Like, I didn't need Math 11. I'm not using that in my day to day, but I would have really benefited from taking an accounting class that taught me how to budget and how to balance a checkbook and, how to do my taxes.
That's a good one. So then, yeah, that was going to be my next question: is what does it actually take to survive in the system? I mean, we say like, well, we need that basic foundation of information, but if it's allowing, if our goal is to allow students to be able to survive in the day-to-day world, do they really need half the stuff that we're trying to pump into their heads of facts and information? Maybe it's the practical skills, and Summerhill would, coming back a little on topic, is Summerhill would allow you to do those day-to-day things, because it is a lot of problem solving and skill developing and learning what you're what you're good at, what you're not good at, improving your talents and abilities, and finding something you are interested in. So do we really need to be learning about like American history or whatever? Because if we teach those skills, when they get out they can go learn it themselves anyways, but you got to teach those skills to be able to find the information.
It's true, but I would worry that at a location like Summerhill, it would be quite biased,
Very true.
right? Because the whole point of this public education system is that you're receiving an unbiased education that's going to teach you how to think critically and
Yeah.
be ready to be a citizen in your community. And I feel like at Summerhill, they're encouraging, oh, well, if you don't want to work today, you don't have to work, and you can go and play and then come back when you're ready to learn, and then you can pursue whatever interest you want and do all this stuff. In the real world, there are going to be days where you have to do shitty work that you don't like, and it's going to suck. But you have to do it. And you're going to be out in the world and you're going to be confronted with a lot of different sources of information, like all this fake news that's going on currently. And you have to be able to bat through all of that bullshit to get to what's true. And that's why we have a public school system. That's why we have a government-run school system, so that we don't have everyone getting different educations that are biased or that are completely out of whack, like someone just teaching their kid that like down is up and up is down and that sort of thing. Not saying that actually happens.
It might. We don't know.
Who knows? Who knows? But at the same time, I feel like we have an obligation to serve every child and to give them all equal opportunity, and teach them to think critically, and teach them about evolution, and teach them about sexual education, and teach them about that stuff. And I don't know what the curriculum is at Summerhill. It doesn't seem like they have a curriculum, so some kids might be missing out on fundamental information because they don't want to go and learn that, because they don't want to go and do that, because they've made that conscious choice in their minds, or their parents have encouraged them that you don't need to learn that or don't need to want that, and so they send them off to Summerhill so that they don't have to. I agree with Summerhill in the sense of like, children should have a choice in what they pursue as their passion. I don't think that's wrong. I think children should have a say in the rules. But at the same time, there needs to be an adult to supervise and to help and to guide, and because these kids, they have consciousness and they have thought and they have the ability to think logically and critically and do all these wonderful, amazing things, but they're still kids.
And I guess I wonder, because we don't know too much, we know from the article and that movie we watched, maybe there is more direction, more of a Rancière approach of having that guided influence. Maybe that is there, because there are still adults there. There isn't just a bunch of kids on an island frolicking and, Lord of the Flies like.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are there, they are looked after, they do have, house parents, they, they are fed,
Mm-hmm.
things are done for them. They might be more involved than we really think they are. And I think from the video and the article, it's very hard to see how much involvement is there. Because it looks like, okay, yes, there's that democracy, there is that little vote that goes on, mornings or afternoons and meetings and figuring out, how they feel. And, that's really great and they're listened to. But you have a good point. Are they just hanging around in, the living room, you know, reading, fan fiction, or are they, and frolicking and going swimming, or is there actually like, what, we need to get down to business today and let's learn something, and then the teachers are there to say, hey, I actually know stuff about this. Let me tell you about it. Maybe it's not so much instructional, like I'm going to stand in front of the class and we're going to take notes. Maybe it's let me tell you a story. Maybe it's more like an indigenous approach of storytelling and passing on your knowledge versus remembering pop you know pop quiz and facts.
And I think
So
that's
I don't
where,
know, right? That's what we'd have to look into more, is what is it really like versus what media portrays it. Like you were right, there is fake news out there.
mm-hmm.
What is the actual news, right? It seems to be working to an extent, like from the success that we've seen, and it's still around, so it's doing something right.
Yeah, I feel like it's important to take everything with a grain of salt. So
Mhm.
obviously the video we're watching is made by people at Summerhill. So they
Mhm.
have a advantageous not pursuit. There's advantages to them making that video seem like it's going all really well. And I've read some things about Summerhill that aren't necessarily part of the philosophical part of the school, but they've had some issues with teachers and student sexual relationships.
But that does happen at other schools too,
That
right?
does happen in other schools. That's not exclusive to Summerhill for
Mhm.
sure. I I feel like we're moving in a good direction in the new curriculum.
Mhm.
Giving teachers the ability to teach more of what they want to teach and give students more lines of inquiry and give them more opportunities to be democratic. And I like that. I think that's the direction we should be going in. I feel like Summerhill is the extreme of that. And
Mhm.
it won't be effective for everyone. Just like the new system we're going towards, we're hoping it'll be effective for everyone, but it might not be. And that's the issue. As teachers, we need to find out what is effective for all of our students and work the best possible way we can to differentiate
Mhm.
and make adaptations and change and be innovative so that our students learn as much as they can while they're with us.
Yes.
And so, in that sense, I agree with Summerhill. We want our children to learn and grow and become whole and have a say in what they're doing. Yeah, I completely agree with that. But I feel like the way we're going with the new curriculum is a good step in the right direction. I just want to make sure that we give credence to the fact that it's not going to be effective for
Mhm.
everyone.
And I guess you are right in the sense that it could work there. Maybe in small rural communities, it could really work if there's less students. Um, but in a situation where you have 40 some students, a part of it is, a bit of control and trying to get everyone maintained. Can we, there is fear on the teacher's side, can we control this many students if we allow them to do whatever they want, right? It's going to be
Mm-hmm.
chaos for probably a couple weeks until they realize, okay, this is how we're doing things. I mean, we had our lovely tech teacher do something similar, and it ended up working out quite well. And he was just like, "Yeah, go figure it out." But a lot of people don't like that because it's very
Mm-hmm.
scary. Because it could go the complete opposite direction. Everyone could say, "Okay, see, ya, I'm going to Tim's," or Timmy's. I should be a little more specific. I shortened up Tim Hortons a little bit too much. I go to Tim's
people
house.
people know
Go
what you mean
Tim.
by Tim's.
But no, it's interesting where we do have this fear of, can we give people freedom? But then why do we have a fear of giving people freedom? Is it because we also don't necessarily want to give adults full freedom either, and I guess that kind of comes from your conservative side of thinking, and then I have the very my my parent or my mother came from a very socialist side, and then very much wanted the liberal side, so I was really encouraged thinking this way. So, and coming from a school that was very much, figure it out yourself. So yeah, there are those influences to how we're thinking and what really is the best method. All of them, maybe a bit of each. Allow some freedom, because if you're too strict on your rules, they can tune out and not does not participate and feel like all I have to do is memorize facts. And but if you're too liberal, you know maybe there isn't that guidance to say, hey, you know what, really good, you're playing with you know toy trains still, but let's try to talk about the engines, how now they actually really work. Let's try to guide you into a different direction. Like, instead of trains, let's think about planes instead. Like, how cool is that? Aviation, that's a possible career choice. But just playing with blocks and toy trains for the rest of your life because you really like it, no, you need a little bit of guidance. And we've learned that with our exceptionalities courses, that can be very smart that you don't necessarily think are, but without kind of guiding that and pushing them to their limits to think in a different way, you end up being kind of trapped by your own, I guess, your own ignorance, in a sense, that this is the way I want things to stay.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think we've come to? Do you think we've come to a conclusion? Because we're over time, so let's wrap it up.
I think we have. I think it was kind of what I said, is that they're a little bit of both worlds. You need to have a little bit of give, but you also need to have that, you know, that structure and guidance, because they are still children. They are gonna, their prefrontal cortex is not fully developed, so they're gonna think a lot of far-fetched things. And if you just let them go with it without questioning their thought process, they might get the totally wrong neurons, forming together. You need to say, why do you think that way? Which is, I guess, the whole purpose of this whole assignment was, why do you think that way? Where are you getting your thoughts from? Is it valid? Do other people think that way too?
I think we've definitely discussed that, and I'm glad that we could have this discussion.
Conversation. Thank you.
All right, thanks very much.